Let's talk about how the nervous system affects sexual behavior. You should know and be comfortable with the notion of sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Remember, the sympathetic is fight or flight, gets us out of danger, and the parasympathetic brings us back, calms us down. Well, it may not surprise you too much to know that they have a role to play in sex behavior. Now, I've broken down sexual activity into three stages, and I've been a little careful with the first stage. Excitement is kind of a sloppy word. It means a lot of different things. So we're going to reserve it for the second stage. We're going to talk about the first stage of sexual behavior as enticement. Enticement. So this means you are with a partner and things are going well, perhaps, and the odds of you having sex with that person soon increase dramatically. So you are sexually attracted to them, you are enticed by them, but you haven't moved to the second stage. There's no penile erections, there's no vaginal lubrication, right? So your body's not physiologically getting ready for intercourse, but psychologically it is. Your heart is beating faster, your pupils are dilating, you're very excited with the opportunity of possibly having a sexual experience with this person. And that is driven solely by the sympathetic nervous system. And you can see the same sort of things that occur during fear and terror, right? This rapid acceleration of the heart and respiratory rate. So both males and females become sexually attracted to a person in enticement. They show similar responses, the fight or flight. I can't stress enough that all three of these stages are identical for males and females. Okay, so that's the first step, enticement. Now, if you can transition to actually getting ready to have intercourse with someone, that is moving to physiological excitement. Okay, and in this case, the male gets an erection, the female gets properly lubricated. So what happens in the enticement phase is the nervous system has to transition from sympathetic arousal to parasympathetic arousal. It's almost as if you have to be calm enough to have intercourse. Okay? So if you're still sympathetically aroused, and this shows itself in the case of anxiety and any other issues, whatever baggage you may be bringing to the sexual relationship, and you can't transition from sympathetic to parasympathetic, that's where issues of impotency can come in both males and females. Males can't get an erection, females can't get adequately lubricated before intercourse, all right? So that sort of baggage is an issue in sexual disorders, all right? The idea that you're uncomfortable, or you're scared, or you're terrified. What if he says this, she says this? What if they don't think I'm this or that? Blah, blah, blah. All this baggage, right? So in a normal, healthy condition, we have to transition from sympathetic arousal to parasympathetic arousal in order to get physiologically prepared to have sex. And when that happens in the males, arteries in the penis dilate, they fill the spongy tissue with blood that traps the blood in the sinuses, making the penis stay erect and an erection forms. Something very similar happens in the females. Blood engorges. So blood is a big player in both of the genitalia. In this case, the vagina fills the surrounding area. The vagina fills with blood, forcing lubrication fluids out and lubricating the vagina for intercourse. All right, so that's enticement to excitement, sympathetic to parasympathetic. Now you're in the middle of intercourse, right? You're having sex. And in order to orgasm in both male and female, in order to reach climax, you now have to transition back from the parasympathetic arousal to sympathetic arousal. So male ejaculation or orgasm, peristaltic contractions propel sperm through the penis. Same thing with females. Peristaltic contractions ripple through the uterus and vagina in orgasm. We have to transition from parasympathetic to sympathetic. Now, in the normal state of affairs, this happens sort of naturally, okay? So if the penis is being stimulated, it turns out during intercourse, the vagina muscles can clamp down on the penis even harder to promote orgasm. So we transition from parasympathetic to sympathetic in order for orgasm to occur in both men and women. Now, where might problems arise, right? So sexual disorders, you see impotency can happen if we fail to transfer between sympathetic and parasympathetic arousal. And what can happen in some men is you can have an inability You can lose your erection. Uh, so there can be a problem happening in the excitement phase that could shut things down. Perhaps it's not transitioning properly to sympathetic arousal. But the flip side, they can have what's called premature ejaculation, which is too rapid a transition from parasympathetic to sympathetic nervous system. All right? So those are how the physiology of the nervous system affects sexual behavior.